Not everyone has inherent gremlin energy. You mean, like, stay indoors regardless of the situation? I mean, I will admit, from a, like, personal life standpoint, I am probably naturally predisposed to being a complete homebody, owing to the fact that I literally never need to leave my house, for the most part. Especially with online ordering, like, I straight up could have never left my house, and probably done alright. Let's see. Ooh, new gun. Sort of. It's a modified SMG that is just absolutely mulching everything in my immediate vicinity, and it's great. Only problem is it burns through durability like nobody's business, but that's... You know what? That's a small price to pay for greatness. Yeah, I really cannot do melee anymore. That's kind of unfortunate. Might want to just make a couple of these. Well, I mean, I guess I can melee these guys. But entering a new room, I can't have the weapon out, because the big dudes will just immediately smack me. Let's see. Wander sounds like as long as he has games, he has a social mindset to make it to Mars. Yeah, I don't know about that. I think it would be the claustrophobia that would get to me. Yeah, that, like... Oh. That's a new problem. I'm actually over-encumbered. Huh. Yeah, so apparently even with the bigger backpack, I'm still slower. Or I can get encumbered over the course of this. That's probably fine. 70 pounds is considerably better. And maybe it's offset by what backpack I'm using. So, I think it's time for me to upgrade. Bit of a shame that there's a status effect for being over-encumbered. Yeah, let's just load up on everything that we can. There we go. Especially because I think I already found the elevator. Yeah, this is the last couple of rooms, so we're good. And my bag of holding has no weight reduction, which sucks, but it's fine. We gotta go back and take a nap anyway. Refill a couple of things. Possibly repair and make another SMG. But yeah, as far as the, like, social mindset to make it to Mars, I think the thing is, if I was on a... How long is the trip to Mars, like, predicted to take? Because I know this was a topic back in, like, what, 2012? When everybody was really hopping on the bandwagon. 6 months. Well, that's nothing. That's not, like, I'd probably be a little depressed by the time I get there just because cramped conditions. And, you know, just being in space. But, like, if I had, especially if they had, like, a fancier ship than just, like, a standard lander shuttle thing. Where, like, I'd have at least some amount of room, and mainly an exercise center. I don't think I'd go insane. I think I'd actually be fine. Especially if I had at least, like, a couple other people to do D&D with. And, you know, obviously play video games. Because, yeah, I'd totally just stick my butt in a chair for X number of days, just playing through pretty much every single JRPG in existence. And then cooking up, you know, D&D campaigns to play with the rest of the crew. I still don't think I'd do it because of the inherent risks of being in space. Wait, I don't need beacons. What am I doing? I need books and a wall to stare at when it gets boring. Yeah. I don't know. I I feel like I could probably swing it without too much immediate problem. That's a crappy gun. Let's get rid of this. That's an old bad gun. Yeah, the moment the mega cancer would be the issue. Yep. Let's see, most proposed Mars habitats involve setting up inside volcanic tunnels, which takes care of radiation issues. Oh, that's cool. Like, I'd probably be a better, like, second or third wave colonist. You know, where everything's not quite set up yet, but, you know, it's set up enough. I think I'd be an okay first wave colonist. But obviously you'd want to find somebody with better immediate skills than YouTuber. Okay. Barrel Phantom. Ooh. I still have enough resources for all of this. Let's see. What else do we want to do? Do we want to make a shotgun GT? Sure. Let's see if that's any good. Let's see. Keep that in mind. You're probably playing the same game for 6 to 8 months. Gigabytes doesn't certainly come free in open space. No, I'd definitely be playing more than one game. I mean, think of it this way. Like a terabyte hard drive is pretty small, but you could 100% pack a bunch of, like, especially old SNES JRPGs, PlayStation JRPGs and PS2 JRPGs, some CRPGs, Dwarf Fortress, RimWorld, Factorio. You know, a bunch of games that are meant to be played, like, over and over and over again. You absolutely could pack that onto, like, one hard drive, share it between the entire crew. No problem. Like, data would be the least of, I think, anyone's worries. I think the biggest issue would be, physical things to do. Would probably be the mind killer. Okay. So we can make a new barrel and a new heatsink. Oh, nope, we need more yttrium. Just make the slightly lower tier stuff. That's okay. What do you need? Scandium? Oh, we got plenty of scandium. Yeah, Minecraft. Yeah, that'd be one. But yeah, I feel like so much of this would actually be a non-issue from a, like, yeah, I could probably swing most of this, which we need to sleep. I think the main thing is just, I would have a hard time after getting to Mars. Oh, shoot. We're rested enough. Because I think the tasks that I would have to do for the rest of my life just to live on Mars, that would actually be kind of rough. Yeah, I feel like we need to ask the question, do we need to go to space before talking about plans to get there? I feel like we need to go to space just because. Just because that's how humans function. That we can't just not go to space, but I feel like that should not be our primary modus operandi as a species. And also, I think to some degree having 2 planets is super helpful, just in general. Okay, that's still going. Do we grab it anyway? Yeah, I'll grab it anyway. That repairs very slowly. Ooh. Ooh! Okay. Guns are good. Oh, wait, shoot. Okay, get rid of these. I just wanted to pull out the guns and the hammers and stuff, because they need to be over here. Because we want to put the food in this one. Spaghetti, V to D, and everything else can just go right in. Perfect. I've got like one more gem. And if we can get it working, the industrial possibilities are stupidly impressive. Yep. But I will also say, like, we definitely need to be better stewards of Earth. That we've been pretty shit about it lately. And like, I would love to see Earth turn into this, like, beautiful eco-paradise that is, like, actually self-sustaining and no longer super exploitative. And, you know, all the while we're building up Mars, terraforming it, and doing the same thing. I just don't want us to turn into Blade Runner. Every time I watch Blade Runner and you see the cities and it's like all polluted and gross looking, and I'm just like, I would hate that. I would hate that future. Some of the tech would be really cool, but the actual, like, reality of living in that universe would just be like, ugh. We need to abandon resource exploitation for profit. It's like, I think you can kind of allow a smidge of resource exploitation for profit. The main issue is just that, like, right now we have unfettered resource exploitation for profit, and that's when it goes bad. Posit that traveling to space while capitalism stands is unethical. I think it really depends on, like, how unfettered capitalism is. Yeah, I think the Star Trek style... I think the Star Trek style of civilization would be the ideal one for actually going into the world. I feel as long as, like, you have heavy regulation, you could probably swing some space-based exploration, but you'd absolutely know some rich asshat would probably just go rogue, start his own colony, and turn it into effectively a slave empire for his own benefit and no one else's. The thing is, like, I get the feeling, I mean, unless we solve the humans' aging problem, oops. That wouldn't actually, you know, that would probably last for a little bit and then it'd fail on itself and we'd eventually have regulation pop in anyway, question mark? Because I can't imagine most people being able to, like, maintain substantial generational wealth across a space empire, wealth or hierarchy, without crumbling in a really bad way really fast. I just don't feel like most people are built for that. You can even see it now. Like, most generational wealth, to my knowledge, lasts for maybe like 3 generations, and then it starts petering out because there's always that one fool. You know, maybe you have a couple of families that actually manage to keep it going, but humans historically do not actually do that well with dynastic succession. It's just the amount of damage they do while they're currently messing it up. That's the issue. And so yes, ultimately I think I agree with you. I just can mildly see like a slightly utopian implementation that doesn't immediately doom us all. Let's actually probably stick to the somewhat broken one. Maybe? I don't know. They're all about as good. The shotgun is fun to use, but it overheats like crazy. Now, Star Trek society is pretty communist by virtue of resources not being limited. Everyone can have anything and do what they want. And I think that's actually like a really good ideal we should be pushing for. That it's like a post-need society would actually be quite good. I mean, obviously you wouldn't be able to give every single person a mega yacht, But I think to some degree you also have to convince people that, like, well, convince people, you more or less just have to make the mega yachts not available. You know, get rid of anything past a certain point in terms of, like, decadence, and I think after a certain point you'd only get the absolutely immoral people that still pursue wealth. But I think if most people could, you know, do a job that they loved, go, you know, for probably 30 hours a week, unless they're very passionate about it and want to do more, which, like, there are absolutely people like that. I'm definitely one of them. I work my ass off. But you give everybody a job that they actually really like. Make it so that they never have to worry about starving, being homeless, healthcare. Can raise a reasonably sized family in comfort. You'd probably actually have a pretty good setup just right there from that. I feel like humans post-scarcity would be more like the Eldar in Warhammer, total degeneracy and decadence. I feel like you would have all walks. That I'm sure there are going to be people that are just absolute vile garbage. But, like, if I had, like, millions of dollars, I don't think I'd ever go full notch, where I just sit around on Twitter in my mega mansion just being an absolute monster. Like, I don't think any amount of money would ever put me in that position. I think what I'd probably do is just disappear from the face of the internet, or, just keep doing what I'm doing with, like, almost no major noticeable changes. Apart from the fact that I'd have, like, a really nice camera setup. Holy shit, this shotgun is good. Obviously, the SMG is a little bit better just for the extra range. At the end of this, I think I'm gonna mod it specifically so that my, Oh, did we find the O2? No, it's just a power room. I'll take it. Notch behaves like a monster? Yeah, as far as I can tell. Dude has some... I don't necessarily like using the word, like, wrong think or anything like that, but he has some definitively backwards opinions that, honestly, if a friend of mine had expressed them to me, I would probably stop being friends with them. I always worry in societies like that, how would it impact art? How do you push people to other fields while maintaining the integrity of it? I think the thing is, though, not everybody is into art. That, yes, you would actually have a lot of people that end up in the arts, but is that actually a problem? To some degree. We have so many jobs already that, honestly, could be and should be automated just purely from a merits of, like, they provide almost no measurable... No one wants to do them, generally. I think some people will happily do them anyway because the paycheck is good, maybe. But, like, on a reasonable level, no one really wants to be a burger flipper at McDonald's. But you might get a lot of people that want to be, like, a gourmet chef at a nice restaurant. And so, you automate the burger flippers, but you keep the gourmet chefs. Suddenly, yes, food becomes more about an art form and craft, and less about just churning out more and more burgers. And so if somebody wants their, you know, cheap-ass 3D printed whatever burger from whatever burger, that's what they get. But then you actually give people the opportunity to do something meaningful with their life. And as far as, like, you know, in a post-scarcity society, a bunch of people doing art, like, yeah, why not? Why not have a bunch of people making games, making art, inventing new stuff? Burger sculpting, sure, why not? Because the thing is, people are so much more creative when they're not fettered by needing to put food on the table and rent and so on and so forth. And it's like, I saw a quote, I think a week ago, about how the biggest shame to this person was not the fact that Einstein passed away, but that somebody smarter than Einstein wasted their whole life doing manual labor instead of, like, really fulfilling their potential. And yes, I realize that there's always the counter-argument of, like, a lot of people wouldn't do anything. You know, a number of people would just be super decadent and just sit around on their ass. Like, how many of you guys would actually spend your entire life planted on a couch, watching, you know, watching television, and only doing that with your entire life? My assumption is many people would get bored of that. Like, you kind of would, but you'd still end up doing something else with your life. You'd probably end up finding a hobby. Like, I spend my entire day playing video games constantly. I technically have the, like, ultimate dream job of sitting on my butt, and the only thing that I have to do on top of everything else is just actually care about this as a business, as opposed to just hitting the stream button every single day. And it's like, I think you'd maybe manage to do a couple years of absolute decadence before you'd probably get bored. And I think most people that want that level of decadence is probably just because you're overworked. You want a vacation. And you want to feel fulfilled in a way that, you know, a lot of jobs and job prospects don't provide. And so, like, sure, maybe you would spend a couple of years post-primary education just being an absolute lump. And then someday you'd be like, oh, you know what would be really cool? Woodworking. And then you just start doing it because you have nothing better to do. Because I mean, even me, I love me some video games. Holy shit, that's a higher tier bug thing. But like, even me, like, I love my job, but even now I want to find something else to do just to use up some of my time and make me feel a little bit more fulfilled in a way that a lot of video games might not necessarily make me fulfilled anymore. Like, I like this game, but to some degree I'm just playing it to pass the time now because I don't have anything better to do this week. Well, not this week. This specific weekend. That, right now I don't have any immediately, like, pressing games that I need to record, so I'm just kind of playing whatever. See, where'd you get the finances to get into recording? Well, the hypothetical situation on this is that it's a post-scarcity society. That, you know, if everybody is largely taken care of, yeah, you'd actually look into it. Because you can automate, like, a shit ton of things. Let's see. Remember reading online there were experiments that tested utopia settings for mice, giving them enough resources that they didn't need to worry about. And they had safety from predators, and they became apathetic and abusive to other mice. I would love to see that experiment taken again, but giving them enough, like, stimulus so they're not just, like, sitting around. Because I remember that experiment, and I don't remember the mice actually having anything to do. And maybe you're right. Maybe that is the truth. I always feel like this is a justification for maintaining an abusive system, as opposed to actually finding anything better. There we go. Boy, howdy. There's a lot. Ow. Yeah, I remember seeing that, and I don't think they had any toys to play with. And, like, I'd have to look at that experiment again, because I remember seeing that and being like, man, that sounds really boring. Because the whole point of that society is like, oh man, what if they just had everything for them? But the answer is, like, mice aren't like humans. They're not inventive, and they don't think abstractly. Mice are, for the most part, creatures of instinct, habit, and need. They don't really think of themselves in a greater sense beyond, you know, keep fed for the day, don't starve to death, and don't get eaten. And they don't really think of, like, a hobby. I don't think they can. Humans are also creatures of habit. But, I mean, this is true, but... like, mice don't have the ability to rise above just being mice. Whereas humans, like, we've come a long way without, like, physically changing too much. Humans have changed dramatically since the days when we were just living in caves and tents. I mean, even the fact that I'm sitting here talking about this kind of exemplifies my point a little bit. I think we found what we're looking for. Level 4 biosphere data chip. I'm not finding a log, though, but it looks like, oh, they tortured somebody here. Because, yeah, it's a chair. Oh, this is the interrogation room, where they brought that, that one biosphere worker to. There's her answer. I changed a lot physically since we came out of the caves. Not overwhelmingly. Like... okay, let me back up. We have not changed dramatically as, like, in terms of, like, our physical appearance and, features, or, like, our mental, effectively, we have not evolved tremendously since the days of, you know what, let's just close this building out just because we're here. We've not changed tremendously since the days of, just basic hunter-gatherer tribal cultures. That, like, yes, the brain and skull changed, but largely after after humanity, let's see, largely after humanity finished kind of crossbreeding with the Neanderthals and more or less became what they currently are. Like, we haven't changed so much since the evolution of language. Since, like, the days of ancient Greece, for example. Like, you could probably take a person, like, an infant from that era, and except for maybe a couple of, like, congenital issues, that infant could be raised, probably in modern times, with no limitations. And almost no real difference between, like, a modern child. Okay, there we go. And so it's like, it's more of our society and our culture has changed, kind of in our stead, and our technology has improved. Just stacked on top of... let's see. Just stacked on top of each other successively in kind of a replacement for actual evolution. Neanderthals are actually a different race from us, biologically speaking. Yeah, but, like, I've got biologically, I am part Neanderthal. It's a very small amount, obviously, but you can check based on, certain physical traits that people have that are, like, very clearly descended from Neanderthals. Humans were actually biologically compatible with them. And so, I feel like the mouse experiment, just to go back to that, I feel like it is a good microcosm to kind of point out that people in a vacuum probably would go insane. But I feel like in a post-scarcity society, I don't think we would go insane. Yeah, you'd have the leeches, you'd have the crappy people. I didn't know that. I think that's the first time I've ever gotten hit by one of those. Oh shit, I'm tired. Whatever. But I think people would be much more driven to do something with their lives in such a situation. Okay. So no, I totally could have just been a lump on the floor for the rest of my life. My parents probably would have been grumpy about it, but I think I would have been fine. Ow! Wow, they hit me right in the peripheral vision. let's see. I realized, like, I should not use myself as sample size of 1. But I always have, like, extreme doubt whenever anybody says, like, yeah, I'd do nothing with the rest of my, for the rest of my life if I could. And it's like, no, you wouldn't. You'd get out, you'd exercise, you'd do something. And who knows, it might just be Dungeons and Dragons day in, day out. But even that's something. Okay. Well, we found the elevator. That's really what matters. The elevator is empowered. Right. There'd still be problems, just different ones. The issue is that the loss of jobs to automation are coming no matter what we do. We need to have a plan in place before then, not after we crash. That makes the depression look nice. I mean, the main issue is we need to have a plan in place that isn't just maintain what we currently have and just let the poor folks deal with it. Because that's the current plan that we have no matter what. And, like, you can look at West Virginia, you can look at most of the American Rust Belt for what happens when you take away kind of people's livelihoods and kind of reason to exist, and you just get a bunch of sad, angry people with nothing to do. And maybe I'm generalizing a little bit too much in that general direction, but, like, by not having that plan, we shoot ourselves in the foot. By having a plan to say, like, yeah, eventually, like, half of these jobs and industries will just be gone no matter what we do about it. It's easier to just say, let's find new ways to engage people. Honestly, the easiest way to do it would just be chuck more people into, like, R&D sciences and so on and so forth. Because, like, that is... I wouldn't necessarily say science is infinitely scalable, but it's a hell of a lot more scalable than car fabrication. See, VR is going to solve a lot of problems. Yeah, potentially. I think still people would still be bored, but... The interesting thing I could see would be, I'm pretty sure a post-scarcity world would not destroy my job. But I gotta imagine, like, streaming would turn into a completely different thing when nobody's free and everybody can do whatever. That's why we look at the stars and planets. Space is vast and interesting. Exploration will be a big drive. Yup. There we go. That gets rid of all this stuff. Yeah, Shell's worried everybody would just go shopping. I think that's actually a valid fear, that people would turn into, like, horrible consumerists. Which I could kind of understand. Okay. Move all these over. Did I get a whole lot of gems? I got some. Okay, what else do we do? I think when I came back, I totally forgot to actually start crop growth again. Well, we got the Biosphere 4 chip. I don't think I'm actually going to be able to do anything with that, though. I think I need the higher tier research to actually get to it. Yeah. I'll leave that for later. Theory, we've already reached a post-scarcity world. We got bored and hooked ourselves into a simulation to replicate troubled times just to see how we live our lives to solve problems, just for the fun and curiosity of it. That, honestly, would be a relief if that was the actual answer, just because, like, oh man, then we don't have to worry about as much. Well, I mean, I think we still do, but it would be more about like, turning life into a puzzle game than half the shit that we currently do. Yeah, how have I been doing during the pandemic? I want to go outside again. I want to go outside again without having to worry about some a-hole, without a mask on, just marching straight past me or straight up to me at the store. Like, I've had that happen enough times that I'm real tired of it. Or like even in the beginning when like cases were spiking around here, we had to go inside a grocery store for a bit to get some stuff. And it was like just 3 guys without masks on just walked right at us just to... Gosh, I think they were just, like, there to pick up, like, a cup. Like, it wasn't even anything exciting. And it was just very much a, like, excuse me? Like, what? What are you doing? Do you not understand what's going on? The answer is, like, I'm sure a lot of these people probably just didn't give a shit. That's usually how it goes. Let's see. So what are we gonna do? Right. Wow. Sleeping the night away actually for all the crops. That good. I forgot. I can queue up a bunch of these. I don't actually know how much of each of these that I need. So I'm just gonna queue that up. I guess let's take a look at this. So, I need to get research 3. So research 3 is in the Gemini district. Okay, let's see. Anything else I need to do? Oh, right. I probably need to repair my weapons. I might even want to just dump this in here and make another one, because that's going to take a while. At least my other weapons are pretty good. Okay. I get that. Nope. Still don't have enough yttrium. There we go. Make those 3. Medical supply restock, perhaps. I've got 11 decontamination pills, 10 bandages, 12 nano casting kits, and 7 basic med kits. Apparently most of the enemies that I'm encountering aren't dangerous enough to really justify getting more. We should refill on these, though. Try to give people their 6 feet, especially because I try not to wear masks, because you can't see with them. You hate inhaling hot humid air, or you can't see. Still gotta wear a mask, my dude. Like, I know you hate it, but it's like... Six feet social distancing is, like, bare minimum, and should only ever be, safe outdoors without a mask on, and even then, like... Just find a better mask. Because the probable answer is just you have a bad mask, and you can absolutely find like some better ones with some better filters that isn't like hot humid air anymore. That will solve most of the problems that you currently are experiencing. But yeah, the other thing is it's easy to just put on the mask when you go nearby people. Exactly. That like... Okay, where am I going? I'm going to the Gemini district. I forgot. I have to actually power it up. That, you know, you might as well just go around dick-nosing, but as soon as a person is within 20 feet of you, pull the mask up, say like, alright, that's it, masks up. You know, check the seal, make sure it's all good. And then, as soon as they're away, you pull it back down again. And you might have a couple of, like, surprise whoopsies near people, but at least that's trying. Because ultimately, if everybody behaved that exact way, by that effect, nobody's wearing a mask, and so what's the point of it? And so it's like, I get why you don't want to wear one, but you gotta. You gotta because it makes you a good person to do so. You gotta because you don't know if that person you just passed by is sick or can't be vaccinated. That I know a number of people that can never be vaccinated because they will die. They're very few, and far between, but they have enough health issues that it is straight up not feasible for them to ever get vaccinated for pretty much any dread disease. And so it's our responsibility as healthy people to not just, you know, be babies about the whole mask situation and say, like, yep, nope, I actually have to wear the mask. Let's see. Ow. I need to actually pay attention to this. Because, like, I don't like wearing a mask either. My glasses almost always fog up and it's not very comfortable. And I realized that, like, I don't have to wear my mask for long, so... Boy, this got loud. The music really did not like this area. There we go. I'll just leave it at that. Like, I realize I'm kind of privileged here of... I don't actually have to go out much. You know, I just stick around at home. But that makes it extra important for me, even though, like, I am of no risk to infecting other people. That still means that I should keep my mask on because, you know, I have no excuse. Because, yeah, them just being uncomfortable, it's like, you know what else is uncomfortable? Clothes. Clothes are uncomfortable. But I'm not going to go around without clothes on. Also, I actually find my clothes to be quite comfortable, but, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Similar deal with, like, seatbelts. Like, yeah, seatbelts are not necessarily the most comfortable thing in the world. Gosh darn it, whatever. But I still wear it despite that. I remember actually having to yell at my grandfather. 6-year-old me. Back when I was a kid. Because my grandfather refused to wear seatbelts. And I was like, no, you have to wear this thing. You don't have an excuse. Oh shit, where'd this guy come from? And he would never wear a seatbelt. And so every time we went to go visit them, he didn't have his seatbelt on. And I had to say, like, put it on, Grandpa. And I think this is partly the reason why I was never particularly close with my grandfather, because this was the sum total of our experiences, was me telling him to wear his seatbelt, and otherwise him just being kind of weirdly shitty to me. Because otherwise, like, my family lived very far away from my extended family, so yeah, we just didn't have a whole lot of exposure.